you know that the average wedding today costs almost $30,000? And that $30,000 investment, half of the time is flushed down the toilet due to divorce. I want to offer you a new perspective of weddings versus the marriage on today's episode. Men in the Arena Army, we salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. This is Equipping Men in 10. I'm Jim Ramos, your guide and host of Spotify's #1 podcast for Christian men, helping you, bro, live in victory as your best version in the stress bubble of life and beyond. Welcome to today's show. Men, before we get into the meat of the podcast, I want to throw out a hero story to you today. This is number 65 on our journey to 365 hero stories in 365 days this year. This hero story comes from Joe on Instagram. He writes this: I really gained a lot out of your podcast with the calm parent. It instantly changed my perspective on handling my defiant toddler who likes to have outbursts at times. He's only 5, but I feel that our understanding has gotten better ever since. Hey, Joe, thanks for writing into us, man. Hit us up at info@meninthearena.org with your physical address. We'll shoot you some swag just to say thanks. Hey, guys, I want to jump into the meat of the podcast today. We're going to talk about the wedding versus the marriage. You know, whenever I marry a couple, I ask them for two different things. I asked them, one, to go through premarital counseling, and the other non-negotiable is this: if divorce is ever an option, I'm out. I will not perform a marriage where a divorce is an option. But it's interesting. You can see certain telltale signs leading up to the divorce. And I've actually become intrigued lately. You know, senior editor of CNN, Brandon Griggs, said this: want a happy marriage? Have a big, cheap wedding. Now that's interesting. We live in a world where the average wedding in America is over $29,000, but couples continue to divorce at a rate of around 50%. So I want to tell you, I think men, here's some wisdom, younger dudes and parents who have kids who are getting ready to get married. I suggest this. I suggest investing in the marriage and downplaying the investment in the wedding. Now, I know that sounds tough, but let me tell you this. In one study by 2 professors at Emory University, they found a similar correlation between less expensive engagement rings and lower divorce rates. The research was based on a detailed survey completed by over 3,000 adults in the United States who are or have been married. The authors believe that theirs is the first academic study to examine the correlation between wedding expenses and length of marriage. Now, that's interesting. Specifically, the study found that women whose wedding cost more than $20,000 divorced at a rate roughly 1.6 times higher than women whose wedding costs between $5,000 and $10,000. So a wedding that is half the price of another wedding has 1.6 times greater the potential to last longer. So couples who spent, now listen to this, couples who spent $1,000 or less on their big day had a lower than average rate of divorce. And it's interesting, my wife and I, when we got married 30 years ago, I think our whole wedding cost less than $2,000. According to a survey of 13,000 brides and grooms by wedding website thenot.com, couples in the United States spend $29,858 on their wedding day. The wedding industry has deceived young couples into thinking that a lavish wedding with high expense will equal a longer marriage. In fact, in other words, we've been told that the more expensive your wedding day is, the more satisfying your marriage will be. And I'm just here to tell you today that is absolutely not true, okay? Here's my suggestion. Instead of spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on one day, here is my suggestion. This is, I believe, so let's take the number $30,000. So the average wedding day is roughly a $30,000 investment in one day. Are you hearing me? One day, $30K. Here's what I suggest. Take the budget that your parents give you. So let's work off this $30,000 budget. This is the average, right? Spend 10% on the wedding day. So instead of getting $30,000 for wedding day, spend $3,000 on the wedding day. So you're operating off a number that your parents give you. Hey, Mom, how much money are you going to spend on my wedding day? Hey, Pops, how much money are you going to spend on my wedding day? Get the number that both families are willing to spend and invest 10% in the wedding day, and take the other 90% and invest it in your marriage. So if we take a $30,000 total budget, we take 10% and spend it on the wedding, take another 10% and spend it on the honeymoon. So now you have a nice honeymoon for $3,000. You have a economic wedding for $3,000. So that's $6,000 off the top. Now you have $24,000 left. Here is what I suggest. I suggest that you propose this to your parents. You say, hey, we want to take that wedding money that you have given us. We want to invest the remaining $24,000 that goes beyond the honeymoon and beyond the wedding. We want to invest that on a down payment for a house. Or we want to invest that every year. We want you to send us to a marriage conference for the next 20 years. Or we want to invest that in a trailer so that we can travel and enjoy each other and build our marriage through travel. You fill in the blanks. But listen, if you have a $30,000 investment, is it wise to shoot your wad in one day? As a parent, is it wise to shoot your wad in one day? So I know you can't control what your kids are going to do if you have kids who are, 20-somethings, but man, you sure can suggest it and say, hey, what if we all put together, all of the families put together a budget, and then we give you X amount for the wedding, X amount for the honeymoon, and the rest we put down for a down payment for you, so you can start this life, you can start this marriage with a new home, or you can know that every year we're going to send you to some kind of marriage conference. To me, I believe that is a wiser investment. I'd love to know more about what you think. So hit us up in the content. So hit us up with your comments below. Let me know what you think about today's episode. Hey, and if you did like today's episode and you're not an actual subscriber to the podcast, please, please, please hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. When you do that, it helps us climb the charts, which gives us a bigger opportunity to reach more people. Until next time, feel the wet sand on the arena floor. Hear the deafening roar of the crowd. Taste the sweetness of victory. Smell the stench of battle. Get in the game. Get dirty. Grind it out. And be a man.